Hello, everyone. This is Tone Vase, and I wanted to do a recording explaining to people how to set up the TI indicator, the time indicator, also known as the random number generator, on your trading view and what some of those options are. So I will start with my website and talking about what the code is all about. Then we'll do some basics on trading view and setting up the code. Okay. So this is my website, libertylifetrail.com, my little about page. So in the educational tools section under Learn Trading, in section 6, I have lots of very useful links. So make sure before you use this indicator, you go ahead and read all of them. Anything that says TD, because my indicator is similar to the TD indicator, though not exactly the same. I name it TI indicator for obvious reasons because it's not exactly the same thing. So this has always been my very first, a very popular link that I send to people. It's a very good article published about 20 years ago or so, about 18 years ago, sorry, 14 years ago from 2004, and about the time to market indicator. And over here, it does a very good job, how can I zoom in on that, of the very basic rules of what is a buy signal, a sell signal, and a perfected sell versus perfected buy. So I strongly recommend checking out this article. In addition, here's another article that I've also recommended to people look at. And this one is written for the FX space. So as you can see, this indicator is used across multiple markets. Now, there are lots of other links that I have on my website that give you some more details along with some explanations of how traders use them. This one in particular just shows you some of the basic math rules. I'm not going to click on it. The practical application actually goes through a lot of the intricacies of the indicator, which I'm going to talk about next. And it talks specifically about the math rules like the TDST levels and the risk line and lots of other things. Also, it talks about the combo and the math rules for that. There it is. Requirements for a combo sell, because that's the new addition to the indicator. And finally, and most importantly, is this link here, the Bloomberg Market Essentials. This is an amazing resource. This is a 70-page presentation from Bloomberg themselves. And most of the pictures here are from the book written about the indicator where Tom DeMark was a part of. This is the book itself. So you can click on this link and actually get the book. But this is parts of the book about the indicator. Okay, so make sure you check out all of these resources before you start to trade it. All right, now that's all that out of the way, what I want to talk about next is TradingView. So TradingView is where this code was written. It was written in Pine. It was actually not all that easy to write it. So if you don't have TradingView and are interested in TradingView, please check out the affiliates and referrals section and go through my link because it helps support my work. I actually used to have the pro account. I recently upgraded to the premium account because I wanted to be able to have it open on multiple machines. I wanted to have multiple logins. So that was really, really important to me. But the code and the indicator itself will work on the free version. You don't have to pay for a paid version of TradingView. It would totally work on a free version. However, you'll find that it's a little bit annoying to use and it doesn't give you a lot of features. But feel free, it will work on a free version, okay? So the code is actually published. So I'll have this link in the bottom of this video. So this is the publication of the code. And in the picture above where I published the code, you can see my general a naming of the things that you will see in the code. Now, this isn't all of them. It was very difficult to find the perfect picture that I can label all of it, but I'll go through a lot of these features in a second. There's also descriptions here with a link to that Bloomberg Market Essentials. I had to do a very quick update, but in that update, I provided an additional picture, and we will probably talk about this picture a little bit later because it has a very useful example I want to discuss, okay? But there it is. And they do, of course, accept Bitcoin if you do decide to pay for the TradingView service. Okay, so let's talk about the indicator and how to set it up. So if you have access to my code, you would have gotten 3 pictures in, you would have gotten 3 pictures to give you some details. And I'm gonna go through this live as well, but please be aware that go through the red and the green and the blue and how to set it up. And I will probably get back to these pictures in a second, but make sure you have seen all 3 of them, and I'm gonna talk about all this in a second. But here they are, okay? And this is the alarm section. Let's just go straight into it, all right? So let's do it. Here is a chart of Bitcoin. This happens to be a 12-hour chart. Also, quick basics. I always see people with this silly buy-sell movable piece. You can just go ahead and right-click that or click it in general and then hit the hide button. That thing is pretty much in the way, okay? There are multiple ways to use it. First of all, another neat trick, put stars next to the time frames that you like. And these time frames will appear here for very easy transitions from, let's say, 1 hour to 12 hour. Another really cool feature is if you're looking at multiple things at the same time, is you can actually look at them with multiple things at the same time. And you can have a different exchange or a different time frame and looking at all 4 of them at once. Hold on a second, guys. Need a little water. So, but I'm gonna just stick to 1, okay? You can always make a copy of this chart and save it as a new chart, not really a feature on the free accounts. And of course, I like to save each chart on each time frame, though not everybody likes doing that, okay? These are your general settings. Another thing that I recommend that people do, oh, and you can also set the types of candles you like to see on line charts with stars. Here in the indicator section, if you go to favorites, you should have a list of your favorite indicators. In order to get a list of favorites, all you have to do is search. Let's say you want moving averages. So, and there you go. And all you have to do is put a star and you just added it into your favorites, okay? Now, I believe the free version only allows you to look at 3 studies. So for example, if I go to my favorites and I add a moving average, I add a MACD, and I add an RSI, that's it. I would not be able to add my indicator to this because I would have exhausted my 3 free options for studies, okay? So therefore, you have to drop some of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete the 2 I just added. I'm assuming I added this one and that one, okay? Also, double clicking will hide the others. Double clicking again will bring the others back. In order to move this thing around, you have to first slightly contract the vertical range, and now you have access to it. When you open up a brand new chart, it's kind of locked down, but once you adjust it by even a fraction of an inch or a centimeter, you can now totally move it around. You can also control your date range as well. You can set your time zone down here, but that's also per chart, okay? General settings. Oh, don't forget to use the I. This button right here puts certain things in and out of view, and that's very, very useful. You can also put studies on top of studies, also very useful. All right, well, let's get to the real let's get the real thing. Well, when you're gonna add the indicator, it'll be in your indicators invite only section. When you click on your invite only section, you will probably only going to have one option, okay? That's the one I currently have start, TI indicators. If I redo it completely, I'll probably give it a new name. You will have a green lock on it. You need a green lock, okay? Make sure it comes from the Tone Vase account, okay? Make sure you're getting it from me. That's my account on TradingView. You can go ahead and follow me there, okay? And if you click on it, it will add it and it's gonna calculate it. Now, these are your initial parameters. I have set the default parameters to be pretty much what I use. So I'm going to go ahead and leave these defaults in there for now as I go back and explain them. I can now close this. When you go back into settings of the indicator, you will have a lot more optional parameters. That's totally normal, okay? Now, also, another way to get there is to simply double click somewhere on the indicator. Notice when you double click, you have these circles. Don't worry about those circles. They are fine, all right? So these are the general parameters. Also in the general settings, what you really want is in the background, you want to uncheck indicator values because otherwise this thing gets very, very annoying. You see all those numbers on top? That's really no good, okay? So that's kind of annoying right there, okay? So I uncheck that. Now, indicator arguments, I actually want checked because when I uncheck it, you can see that something has disappeared. When I check it, you see that sequential has now reappeared, okay? Now, that's gonna be important as I talk about it in a minute, okay? This is also where you can set your time zone, set your scales, and the style of the general picture, okay? So here we are with the indicator on the on a 12-hour time frame. That's pretty much it for general settings, okay? The reason why you want to see this word sequential is because as I go here, you can see that you have 3 different types for sequential. Now, I can change it to the combo, for example, and what that does, actually, let me change it to the aggressive. If I change it to the aggressive, here's what happens. It's just a different type of calculating the 13. And as you can see, the red numbers 1 through 12 are leading you into the aggressive 13 that will always show up no matter what parameter you use. And you can see here the sequential 13, which is the standard countdown 13, had 7, and then you had an S13, okay? So that means if you change it to the sequential here, the numbers that you see along the bottom will lead you into the sequential, but the aggressive 13 will still be there. Same thing with anything that has a red arrow on it, okay? The numbers are top are the setup, and the numbers on the bottom are the countdown. There's 3 types of countdowns: the aggressive, the sequential, and the combo. And you will need to go to the math rules to figure out what that is. There's also the intersection here. So let's talk about some of these options, okay? So you can, if the intersection is not something that you care about and you don't need it, you can hide it. Not that it really bothers you. If you click hide intersection, you just saw that it disappeared from right there, and I click I can click it back on, okay? Also useful, if all these numbers are annoying to you, you can go ahead and hide them. You can hide all numbers 1 to 8 or 1 to 12. But however, you will still see the numbers on the current candles. This is very useful because as an active trader, the only number you care about are the numbers on current candles, okay? What other options do we have? We have, actually, I'm gonna leave those off actually. So this is a really neat one, disable setup 9 termination. As I slide this over, you see this 1 with the red arrow? What that means is that at one point, this was actually a 9 with a red arrow. So if you don't want that feature, you can just uncheck it. So this was finished as a 1, but because at one point it was a 9 and I would have been notified, I wanted to leave it there. Okay, so there you go. So I really, really like that feature. This is a way, there's 2 different combo countdowns. There's a version 1 and a version 2. This is explained in the in this PowerPoint presentation. So please check that out. The default is version 2, which I believe is the preferred one on Wall Street. Therefore, that's the default, but if you want version 1, you can do it. The TDST lines and TIST lines in my indicator, that is those dotted lines, which you can also hide. You sort of appear and disappear. Don't forget, in the style section, you can adjust the colors of these nines, and also you can adjust the thickness of the TIST and the risk line. The risk line is this bluish line, which represents something else, which you can also hide. You will not be able to see the source code, so you probably will not have this button, okay? Also in the style section, it shows you what the light green arrow versus the dark green arrow mean and what the differences are. One is a perfected and one is a non-perfected, okay? And the quasi green 9 means you can make that a different color, but you don't really have to. That's when you have a 9, but it didn't actually end with a 9, okay? So let's go back to inputs. Now, what did I miss? Disable TI termination count. Don't mess with this one. This one, I probably should not even have it as an option. I'll consider removing it for next time. It has to do with the plus signs. You don't really see any here. If I turn on the countdown, you would have to go and find a situation. Actually, it's in one of my pictures. Let me pull it up. I believe it's in, not this one, but it's in, no, not that one either. Sorry, guys. Should have been a little more prepared, but it's over here. It's definitely on here, which is why I posted this picture. That has to do with the way the pluses are generated and the way the S13 is generated. And this was checked and rechecked so that it's correct. You can see that in order, you get these plus signs when the countdown 13 is not perfected and it gets deferred. This would have been the first 13, but it got deferred all the way to here. But you can, because it needs to be compared to an 8. But you can see that another 13 that came from a 9 that completed later finished earlier, and that showed up on your chart, okay? You can also read about what terminates the counts, how these lines disappear, and how these counts disappear. One last thing on this is, of course, one final parameter. Let's get that going. And that is this one. Require the TI price flip for new setups. This is really, really important. And I will demonstrate this on the traditional stock market. Here's the traditional stock market that Wall Street was paying attention to. You can see how the market topped on a 9 and combo 13. Wall Street was paying attention to the combo 13, but they did not see any of the setup numbers, okay? Because the traditional indicator wouldn't give you those numbers. And you can mimic the traditional indicator by clicking mandating a price flip. So there you go. So right here, because there was no price flip, because it never went to a red number, you never got any more setup numbers. And in Bitcoin, this could be pretty dramatic. One last thing that I have to show you guys is the alert section. And for that, I'm just going to take the chart of Bitcoin. I'm going to flip it to a 1-minute chart. Just hopefully there'll be a 9 or a 13 or something with an arrow showing up. Unfortunately, we just had something with an arrow, missed it by about 4 minutes. So I wanted to have it show up. I wanted to keep this video short. But the way to do alerts is, what you want to do is you want to go back to the indicator because this was actually programmed in. You want to go back to the indicator. And I'm sorry, not back to it. You want to click on the indicator here, and you want to go to add alerts. Okay. Now in the alert section, you can custom make the alert for anything in here, for any number or line you like. But what you really care about is anything with an arrow, like this unperfected 9 that just showed up. So you want to go to all, counts, all the relevant counts. You can go to greater than values 1. That's correct. I only like to be notified once per bar. You can set your end date. You can set what type of notification you like. And then over here, just change all of this to the word alert. Okay, and there you go. This is also explained in one of the pictures that you would get that would look like this. And there it is. Sorry, value, I should make that a 0. My bad. Let me go change that. This is why I send out these pictures, okay? And you will be alerted the moment the arrow actually shows up. So let me go back there. So I'm actually going to change that to a 0. There it is, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and create the alert, and that shows up right here. So I have an alert on this particular ticker on this particular time frame. And the moment one of these shows up, it will, I mean, I don't really want to wait like potentially 4 more minutes, but we could. But if you wait, you will get a big notification, and you can always edit your alert by double clicking on it. And there you go. You can set it to anything you like. You can disconnect sound. You can only do pop-ups. But this is a very useful feature, and it will alert you anytime there is an arrow. So if we want to wait, if the market continues to go down for Bitcoin and you want to wait 3 more minutes, you will get an alert on this screen, okay? But I will leave it here, and maybe I'll redo this video a little bit better. Just had a quick 20 minutes, all right? So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for watching, and hopefully this will help you setting up the indicator from your side.